don't. Oh, I do not like this camera. It's inverted and it's throwing me off. Like this half is a completely different person than this half. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Might also be the light because that's actually psycho crazy. I'm gonna give it a little time to wait for people to come on. I think I'm gonna make more coffee while I wait. And if you're here, please make sure to leave your PCOS questions in the chat box so that I can get started as soon as I see them. Let's see, I posted it on Red Note since we don't have TikTok anymore. And I posted it on Instagram that we're gonna be on here. Me and Sage are about to go on live on YouTube to answer your PCOS questions. If you don't know what PCOS is, it's a polycystic ovary syndrome, and it is a condition that. Okay. My thoughts on this. Wish I had more coffee. Oh, it's freezing in here now. Okay, so I'm just gonna get started with talking about the common mistakes that I see people make when they are first starting out their PCOS journey. Actually, I should probably let me see if it. That is better lights. Well, okay. Oh, that's a lot better. All right. I'm sure it doesn't make noise. I'm still thrown off by this camera. Hi to the one person that's here. So if you have questions, please leave them in the chat. But while we are waiting for other people to join, I'm just going to talk about the common mistakes that I see people making when first starting out their PCOS journey. So the very first one being having this all or nothing mentality, which I definitely had first going into it, because I thought that I had to start my health journey and from one day to the next, like clear out my pantry, throw everything out that I used to eat that was processed and, quote unquote unhealthy. Go shopping and buy all of the good foods, the PCOS friendly foods. And it meant that I was also going to start going to the gym. I was always going to the gym regularly during this time, but like consistently and not miss, even if I was tired. Which, I mean, obviously that's a very toxic mindset to have because one, it's unrealistic, right? And it's not like I was working towards fitting into a dress or something, that type of goal, or I was working towards a bodybuilding competition where you have to kind of be that intense with your approach. I was trying to heal my hormones, right? I was trying to heal my body. And to overcome symptoms, whatever the habits that you start adopting, they have to be lifelong. They have to be sustainable. It's not something that you're gonna, do just for a month and then fall off, because your symptoms are going to come back. Obviously, it's something that you want to last a lifetime. So you want it to feel comfortable. You want it to feel natural. You don't want to have to think about, oh my God, what am I going to eat? What's another healthy, meal? Let me go look it up. No, you want it to just be something that you just do. It's part of your life. So because of that, what I recommend instead is, I'm going to say this first, having forgiveness for yourself, understanding that you're human, you're going to make mistakes. No one's perfect. You're not going to go from one day to the next being a whole different person, and you shouldn't, because again, that's unrealistic and it's not sustainable. Instead, I recommend adopting one healthy habit per month. And you're probably thinking, dang, that's going to take a long time for me to see results if that's what I'm doing. Not necessarily. I find people who are in their PCOS journey and literally need to tweak one little thing, and that was the thing that was going to help them to overcome symptoms or feel better, have more energy, get their period back. So one healthy habit a month. And to give you an example, like one that I actually recommend for my clients when I was personal training was adding in vegetables. It seems so stupid, but it's true. A lot of people don't eat vegetables. A lot of people don't get their micronutrients in, which is a huge issue, because your body needs those vitamins and minerals to work efficiently, your metabolism especially. So I would say eat vegetables every meal. And that's literally the only thing you're focusing on for the entire month. And that's a lot of work as it is, because if you're not eating any vegetables, you have to go from not eating any to now going shopping, buying vegetables, knowing how to cook the vegetables so they taste good and you're not put off, and then making sure you have a component of micronutrients or vegetables in each meal. The thing is, though, by the time the month is over, you've got a handle on it. You're not thinking about, oh, how am I going to make this? What am I going to do? Now you know your favorite type of vegetables, your favorite type of recipes, and it's just something that has become a part of your life. So I definitely, that's one of the first big ones I always recommend. Another one is not skipping meals. A lot of people skip meals. So eating breakfast, so silly, but like actually eating breakfast. And I get it, people have busy lifestyles, like you just get up, you get ready, and you leave the house. But eating breakfast is going to help you so much to stabilize blood sugar levels. And we know that like 40 to 70% of those with PCOS have insulin resistance. It is prevalent in that many people with PCOS. And so therefore, stabilizing blood sugar levels is going to be super important. There's even a book I have, and her whole premise is that if you take care of your insulin resistance, you will overcome all of your symptoms. And she says that's for every person with PCOS. So that just goes to show how important stabilizing your blood sugar levels is. I'm going to answer a question that someone just put in. My healthy habit this month is getting sleep together. So far, I am doing so much better. I used to get less than 6 hours, and now I get a little under 8. That is amazing, and that is super important. That actually brings me into my second topic, my second thing that I think people overlook when starting their PCOS journey, and that is managing stress. And you're probably thinking, that's not sleep, that's stress, that's different. But it's not, because a lot of times those who are experiencing stress, or they have high cortisol levels or lower cortisol levels than they are supposed to have, are not sleeping enough. And you need to sleep. Like, obviously, we know this. We know how detrimental not sleeping is to our body. But when you have PCOS specifically, and you're experiencing stress, and you have elevated cortisol levels, you not getting sleep is going to cause symptoms like weight gain, brain fog, it's going to mess up your blood sugar levels. So you already might have insulin resistance, and on top of that, you're adding to it by not sleeping. What else? Hold on, there is more, because I was doing research on everything that it affects. Cortisol, when it works properly, it also suppresses inflammation. That's super important. Yeah, weak bones. It can also cause excessive hair growth, like PCOS. So I was talking about how it's interesting that it actually mirrors some PCOS symptoms. Thor, stop biting your nails, please. Having high cortisol levels. And if you're wondering, like, what is cortisol? Cortisol is a stress hormone that is released by your adrenal glands. And when you are in a stress state, like let's say your job is really stressful or you're stressed because you have PCOS, your body is going to release more cortisol. Thor, stop. And the release of that excess cortisol is going to cause all of these issues that I just described. Um, and it's also going to mess with your sleep. But in turn, if you're not sleeping, it's also going to elevate your cortisol levels. So I highly, highly recommend getting a handle on your sleep. Um, and some tips for that, because I know a lot of people are like, bro, what, how? Um, Protect your sleep. So like have a routine around sleep, right? Like 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Say, you know what, I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm not going to doom scroll. Maybe I'm going to read a book. I'm going to make sure my room is calming. There's dim lights. Um, and then do something that makes you feel calm and happy before bed. Maybe journal, maybe read, maybe, um, I don't know, a hobby that you have that you really enjoy. But that's one thing that you could do. Another thing that you can do is, I had other tips, but they're leaving my mind now. Making sure that you are eating and you're not like going to sleep on an empty stomach, but also not like eating right before bed. Um, and you're not having, obviously, this is the obvious one, caffeine right before bed. Please don't do that. Um, and then, making sure you're like doing this whole routine early enough. You're not like, okay, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to go lay down now. That's too late. You want to give yourself at least 8 hours, but you might need more. Women need more sleep than men. That has been proven and talked about. And people are very, very different. From person to person, it's different. So, um, me, before becoming a mom, like 10 hours is my natural. That's like my natural state, and I would protect my sleep. Can you lower that, please? And that was my natural state. Like, I would literally go to bed like at 8. On a good day, I would go to bed at 8. Some days, wake up at 8, 12 hours, and I still felt good. It wasn't too much sleep. It was like a good amount of sleep for me. So, you have to find that sweet spot for you. It might be different. Some people are fine on 7 hours, 6 hours. It really just does depend. Um, this person said I have to disconnect. Maria said I have to disconnect from the internet at 9 to fall asleep at 11. See, and finding those things that actually work for you is super important. But now that you know you need 2 hours, you can adjust that too. And how has that been going for you? Have you found that like since sleeping more, um, your symptoms are kind of going away, you have more energy? Because it can affect a lot. The other aspect of stress is like, if you just have a stressful job or your life is stressful or you have stressful relationships in your life. And that's the hard part about the stress aspect, because you have to really prioritize your happiness and your health. And in order to do that, you have to make sure that you're protecting your space, and you have to let go of relationships that aren't healthy for you, aren't supporting you, aren't bringing anything to your life. You have to, what's it called, be able to compartmentalize if your work is stressful and say, okay, work is work. I'm going to leave that at the door. When I come in, this is my sanctuary. This is my home. And be intentional with it. Like, you have to walk in the door and say that, because if not, you'll carry that feeling, that baggage with you. So you have to really kind of let that go. And deep breaths actually do help. I know it's so silly, but it does help. Doing something specifically that takes you out of that work funk and puts you back into your peaceful, calming self, and like a bath, I don't know, or a hobby that you like, or going on a walk with your dog, or going to the gym. But making sure you're doing that so that you do feel better. What else? And then also making time to do things that make you happy, because a lot of people don't, right? They'll just sit and doom scroll. And I know, because I do that. Well, I did that until we got TikTok taken away. But I used to sit down and just scroll when I was feeling stressed, because it like distracts my mind rather than actually being intentional about kind of facing what's stressing me out, and then also choosing to let it go and understand that it's going to be okay. Because those are two different things: distracting yourself and choosing to be intentional and say, okay, I understand that this is stressing me out right now. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to let it go. And then doing something that makes me happy or like feel better in that moment is going to be super important. I do want to make a video talking all about how to better manage stress and give you guys some tips, though. So that will be to come. It definitely has helped me. I mean, I have a lot of symptoms because my last in July gave me insomnia. Oh my God, that's horrible. But regular sleep. So you had COVID, and then because of it, insomnia. Yeah, sleep in general. I mean, sleep for me is a big issue. Even now, obviously being a mom and I have Sage, I do not sleep enough. I feel like you can see it in my face. Like, I feel like I look like I've aged years since I used to make videos. Like, my eyes are starting to get dark. They're like sunken in because I don't sleep enough. And there are days where like I can probably get 7 hours. It's interrupted sleep, but like still 7 hours of sleep, and I still feel dead, like absolutely dead. Because that's just me. That's my setting. Like, is not. I need to go to sleep super early in order to feel well. So it's really about finding what works for you, and where that sweet spot is for that um, time period of sleep that you need. But I'm glad that you found something that is helping you. Um, don't be shy. Like, if you have any other questions or anything that you want to say, please put it in there. So managing stress, again, that's going to be super, super important. If you're doing everything right, let's say you're eating really well, really healthy, you're doing, your fitness is good, you're working out, but you're taking your supplements, but you're still finding that like nothing is changing, your PCOS symptoms are still there, it might be stress. Like, if you're overlooking stress, nothing else you will do will seem like it's working. And I say seem because it's still going to be beneficial to eat good, but it's going to seem like it isn't working, if that makes sense. And the other thing to consider is, even if you don't have PCOS, let's say you're just a person who has healthy, balanced hormones, but now you're super stressed, you will most likely lose your cycle. Your hormones will become imbalanced, and you'll have issues. So, I mean, stress alone is going to affect you so much. So you really have to make sure that you're managing stress if that is an aspect of something that's affecting your PCOS. The third and last one that I wanted to talk about today was being too low in calories. When I was personal training, there were so many of my clients that were eating too low in calories, that weren't eating enough. And I think it's a combination of like diet culture, and then also going to the doctor and being told you just need to lose weight for your PCOS, eat less calories, eat less calories, eat less calories, when the doctor has no idea of the amount of food you're actually eating. And so the people are going and, reducing their calories, because that's what the professional is telling them. And now they're at this place where they're in a huge deficit, caloric deficit, and their body is basically starving. And so instead of using the food that they're kind of eating, the nutrients, they're storing it. And just your body's not going to work optimally if you're not eating enough. So eating too low in calories, plethora of issues that's going to cause, you can just imagine. And for anyone else that does that, you're going to lose weight. But women with PCOS, not the case. So instead of having an approach of like, okay, I need to eat less to lose weight, I recommend that you track your meals for a week. I know this is like, I hate tracking my meals. It takes so much time because you literally have to input everything in MyFitnessPal. But tracking your meals for a week to see where you're actually at with calories. This is going to be the most precise way to do this. So you track your meals on MyFitnessPal, you see where you're at in calories, and then you adjust from there. Now, if you're like 1800 and any lower, that's too low, too low. At least like 2000 calories, I would say. You can stay at 1800 if your goal is to lose weight. That's fine, but if you're going to the gym, you want to you have goals of like body recomp, losing fat, building muscle, or anything like that, then I would say try to stick to 2000. And obviously, the caloric range that you should be at is highly dependent upon your stats, like how tall you are, and everything like that. But that is going to be my recommendation for starting out super precise. Because your body is not going to be able to, your metabolism isn't going to be able to work optimally if it's not getting in the food that it needs. And remember, you also need to eat balance, carbs, fats, and protein. Please, no one on here do the carnivore diet. That is the next video I'm making. Oh my God, the trending carnivore diet is pissing me off. No one with PCOS do that diet. Please. Please. That is so detrimental to your health and to your PCOS journey. But that's another topic for another time. You need carbs, you need fats, healthy fats, and you need protein. And vegetables each meal, which is a carb, and some fermented aspect. So like pickled red cabbage or pickles in general or kombucha, kimchi, things like that are going to help with your gut biome. Maria says, do you have any stress tips for more acute stress in the moment? The weight thing makes me so mad. I recently learned that people with long need extra calories. The body is still trying to recover. That's very interesting. I did not know that. I think it is common protocol for people who have is to give them almost double the amount of calories. That's will legit stress your body. I agree. So going back to your first question was, do you have any more tips for like acute stress in the moment? Yeah, I think so. Like when you're, this is me 50 times a day, like literally right now. But let's say it's more situational, right? Like when things happen and in that moment, it's just like you have this spike of cortisol, you feel it because you are extremely stressed at situations that happen, or, maybe like the first thing that comes to mind is like social anxiety, because you go out and then like you're stressed and it's not something you can really avoid. And it's hard because certain tips are not going to work for certain people, but what I can think of off the top of my head is taking, again, this is so annoying, but taking a deep breath, right? And then disconnecting from whatever thought you're having that's causing those emotions. So when I used to have like social anxiety, actually, I don't even know what the thought was. I think it was more of like, I don't want to be observed in some type of sense. Like, I don't want people to perceive me right now. Like, I want to just hibernate. When I was going to the gym specifically, sometimes I like have two modes. It's either that or it's like, I don't give a shit who's looking at me. I'm doing whatever the hell I want. I love going to the gym. I mean, that's more me now, but before I would have this social anxiety, and it's disconnecting yourself from that thought and understanding, hey, that's not true. You're crazy. You're not famous. No one's paying attention to you, for one. For two, being able to focus on your goal, like bring yourself back to reality and say, hey, what are we doing right now? I'm going to the gym to work out because it makes me feel good, and then leave it there. But I think that like when it comes to stress in the moment, it depends on the situation. Like if you're at home and you're stressed about a situation, for me, my go-to is to like journal or write. If I'm overwhelmed, let's say, and that's causing my stress, I like to make a list, plan it out, make a list, write it down, look at it, and it's tangible. And I'm like, okay, it's not in my head anymore. It's on the paper. I know what I need to do. If it's more of like emotional stress, like let's say I'm sad about something or heartbroken, my go-to, and now these are just literally very personal, like things that I do that help me. And I want to talk to, like, my mom's a therapist. I want to talk to her and get her on here and have her talk about, by the way, is the noise in the background too loud? Just let me know. But I want to talk about I want to ask her how to manage stress because she's obviously an expert. So for me, if let's say I'm stressed about like or heartbroken, first things first to get me out of that mood or kind of like work through the mood, is take a shower. And if I need to cry, cry as much as I want in the shower. Let it all out. Because kind of holding that in, not gonna do you any good. And then I get out of the shower feeling refreshed, feeling new, and I do something that makes me happy. And then like it can be meditating or like painting or journaling or whatever the case is, going for a walk, just doing something that makes you happy, and then trying from there to move on with the day. And that's what usually helps me with like emotional type of stress. Okay, perfect. What else? Is that what you meant by acute stress, by the way? Because I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, and so going back to the thing that you said about weight and having to eat more calories, I think so many people are scared, like, oh, I'm going to eat more calories and I'm going to lose weight. I need to recommend this like podcast to you guys. There's even like bodybuilders who talk about the fact that because they went like so low in calories to do a competition and stuff like that, and then after the competition, they started eating the calories back, but they find that they have this insatiable hunger. There was even actually a girl who went through this. I forgot her name. I know there's a bodybuilder named Nate, and his girlfriend is the one who went through it. She's also a bodybuilder, not to like take away from her, but like I forgot her name. And she literally went through this. But what happens is your body is not getting what it needs in order for the bodily functions to happen, to work properly. And so because of that, you need to eat more. So if you're feeling hungry all the time, and let's say you're doing a diet because your PCOS diet, your PCOS health journey, but you feel like insatiably hungry, eat. Please, Lord, eat more. What's more important, as opposed to thinking, oh, I'm eating too many calories? No, just think about where the calories are coming from. Whole foods, cook it at home. Today, craving burgers. I want In-N-Out so bad. So what did I do? I went to Publix and I got ground beef and I got buns. Now the buns, probably the worst part of the whole burger, but at least I'm making a burger at home. I know exactly what's going into it. And it's not gonna make me feel like crap as opposed to if I ate it out. So worry more about where your calories are coming from rather than how much calories you're eating, and cook foods at home. If you need to go get, you're craving, then by all means do it. It's more like when is that stage? Continually eating like that in prolonged periods that it's going to affect you detrimentally. So if you feel like you need to eat more calories, please do. And again, most people with PCOS that I helped lose weight, I had to tell them eat more. So, but I'm definitely going to look into that long-term COVID and the what's it called, stroke thing, because I didn't know that. There's 2 people here now. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm gonna start wrapping it up because a 30-minute video, I don't know who's gonna watch that on YouTube, but I'm gonna start wrapping it up. I am gonna try and make it a point to come on live every Sunday. Don't yet have a time, but if you don't already, follow me on Instagram, because I will post on there whenever I am gonna go live. When I know and I set the date and the plan, I'll make sure you guys have an update on there. And I guess I can post shorts on here too. Duh. I always forget that YouTube has shorts. Also, before we go, let me know of any videos you want me to do, because I'm looking for like video ideas for shorts and longer videos as well. Whatever you guys want to know more about carnivore diet. I'm probably gonna make that video now because I keep seeing stuff about it. It's pissing me off. Thank you, Maria. I'm so glad you stopped by, and I'm happy that I could help you. And I'm happy that you're having progress. So continue on your journey, and hope to hear from you next time. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.